Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to install TimberTech Reliance Rail. Now, in my personal opinion, if you're a homeowner or DIYer, this is the easiest railing for you to install. It looks great. As you can see, we installed some pieces behind me, but I'm going to show you from start to finish how we install. Now, I'm also going to do a video how to install the stair rail. It's slightly different than the level rails. So the first thing that I do is this is the bottom rail. Now, as you can see in the railing behind me, the space between the post and the first baluster and the last baluster and the posts are equal distance. In my opinion, that is the most important thing. You want it to look symmetrical. So the way we achieve that is I lift up the skirts and put it down here. Then it's as simple as getting a tape measure and shifting this back and forth so that these holes line up. I recommend getting a speed square. So you put your speed square right on the bottom rail at the edge of that hole and measure to the post. So I'm about 2 5/8, and we're gonna repeat the process over here. So I'm 2 5/8, and just mark inside. This is a small section of the bottom rail. So as you can see, that's where the baluster goes in. And then there actually is an aluminum insert with a foam pad that prevents the balusters from rattling. So when you're cutting this, you obviously want to cut the aluminum and the vinyl at the same time. The way we achieve that is on our miter saw, we have a non-ferrous Diablo blade. It is very important. That way you can cut through all of this in one shot. Now, there are going to be shards of metal going everywhere, so make sure you're wearing protection. So after each cut, I think it's good practice to use a blower or a brush to get those shards of metal because it will mark up the vinyl. Now you want to make sure that the aluminum is lined up on the side you're keeping. And you're left with something like that. So as you can see, the distance from the edge of the post to the first baluster and the edge of the post to the first baluster are equal distance. Now the next step is we need to install the crusher block. So what we're going to do is just measure this distance and drill a hole in the center for that. All right, earlier in the video I talked about installing the crusher block. Unfortunately, I have 4 crusher blocks here and all 4 of them are for stairs. So obviously we need 2 for the left and right, but these other 2 were supposed to be straight. So I'm gonna install the railing right now, but this is one step that unfortunately I'm gonna have to skip. So we're gonna come back and install these at a later date. So all you do is you drill a hole in the bottom of the bottom rail and just slide this in, and then the crusher block slides in that. It's super easy. All right, now that we have the bottom rail cut, it's time to cut the top rail. Rather than doing measurements and everything like that, all I simply do is use my speed square, line up the holes. So you can see the holes are lined up. And then I just simply mark the edge of this and mark the edge of that. So when cutting the top rail, I highly recommend cutting the top first for multiple reasons. One, it's a better look, but secondly, if there are any shards of metal or anything on the miter saw, it prevents it from scratching up the vinyl. So you can see that miter saw blade leaves a nice clean edge right through that aluminum. Before we bring this piece over, I recommend blowing it off so that you don't bring any of the metal shards over to the deck. So you can see how quick and easy it is to install this Reliance rail. In my opinion, for a homeowner that's never installed a deck, this is the easiest railing you can possibly install. You can definitely do it by yourself, but obviously having an extra set of hands makes life a whole lot easier. All right, now that the railing's installed, we put our screws on the side, and what that does is that prevents this from shifting left and right. Once those screws are in, you just put these caps on. Simple click, and you're all done. All right, this is not sponsored, but I recommend crocodile cloth. So all you do is you take one of these out, and inevitably, obviously with the aluminum and the metal and the balusters, it's gonna get dirty. So you can see all kinds of spots on here. This is great to just wipe it off and clean it off. All right, now we're ready to install the bottom rail. I'm bringing this over so you can kind of see. So you can see this smooth part. That's gonna go on the bottom. And then once we put the screws in, there's a cap that goes over the top. So we're gonna use these blocks that I cut that are the same size as the crusher block and have it just sit right on top of that. So this step isn't required, but this video is for mostly homeowners. So if you're a homeowner, I recommend just pre-drilling. You want to get a speed square and make sure that it's level and plumb. And then it makes it super easy to just pre-drill. All right, so when you buy the kit, it comes with long screws and short screws. The short screws go in the side here to prevent it from sliding back and forth. The long screws are what goes into your 4x4 posts. This is a T20 bit. With the bottom rail installed, now we're ready to install the balusters. And you can hear, well, hopefully you can hear there's no metal clanging because of that rubber gasket. So once the bottom and top rail are installed, you're ready to install the side screws. Now, like I said earlier in the video, the side screws are to prevent it from shifting back and forth. Obviously, we're professionals, but if you're a homeowner, there might be some wiggle room. With ours, there obviously is not. And it's perfectly plumb right now. Plumb means vertical this way. Level is this way. So right now they're perfectly plumb, so we're gonna just put our side screws in, but what you might have to do in your case is screw the bottom first and then move the top accordingly. Now, the screws that they provide are not self-tappers, so what I recommend doing is taking the same drill bit you pre-drilled here and pre-drill through the aluminum and then put the screw in. All right, with all of our screws installed, the last step is the caps. So you just slide it over and you'll hear it click into place. This one slides up. And then the final step is I recommend putting a little dab of silicone or sealant on the bottom of these, and you're all done. If you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe, and also stay tuned to watch our stair video.